Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you guys for joining me to another video. My name is Wilkie, and today's cancellation for Blader slash Musa we're going to talk about is going to be Blooming and Blooming Phantom. Now, basically, there's a few cancels I know about, and there's not a few. This might be a bit of a stretch because the cooldown of that skill is 25 seconds, and it's a hard cooldown, meaning if I use it, I have to wait. Alright, first things first, if you use this skill the normal way, it's gonna look like this, right? It has a pretty hefty wind-up. It has an iframe at the beginning. At least it says. Well, it's invisible. I'm not really sure, really. It kinda protects me sometimes, it kinda doesn't. I really wouldn't bet my ass on the iframe on this skill, so I don't really recommend using it as a defensive mechanic. But yeah, you saw that this animation is kinda long, and even if you see the enemies first, and then use the long animation, it kinda is hard to actually get it done. So what you want to do is, first things first, you want to get used to press Shift, LMB, and RMB. And now, basically, like I said, I know of 3 cancels, or like 2, I guess. So one cancel is after forward or backwards dash, and the other cancel is directly after Carver, and the last one is after the forward blind thrust, right? So basically, we're gonna go for the chase cancels first. And what this is gonna look like, if you're gonna press chase, all you literally have to do is once you dash, you press Shift, LMB, and RMB. That's the cancel. Now, what may happen is if you press a bit, if you press your mouse buttons at a bit of a desync or something, what may happen that you pop Carver first, because as I said, you can cancel it out of chase, out of Carver, and out of blind thrust. Same deal out of the backwards one, and I show you how to basically screw the cancel up, and that is if I'm too hasty, and by too hasty I mean at the end of chase you see this little spin, and during that motion it's kind of very easy to do the normal cancel without Carver, but if I just like dash and instantly try to use Carver, you'll see that I will kind of pop Carver before my Phantom, which is going to look something like this. That I do the forward dash with Carver and then Blooming, and that is something you presumably do not want to do, right? Because doing that, you might blow a cooldown, you might actually knock up because Carver inflicts floating, and Blooming also CCs, so this is something you don't necessarily want to do. So a way I found to prevent like Carver popping in out of that is simply wait for the motion to finish a bit longer. Now I screwed it up again. So you see, this is a bit of more of a tricky motion, that if I wait a bit longer with executing, there we go, with executing Phantom, it will not execute Carver. This is really a tricky move to do, and due to the hard cooldown, it's kind of hard to pull off, because you have to wait for the cooldown. But let's see, cooldown's off. So what I do is I wait a bit longer and I let the dash continue a bit longer. And now I screwed it up, rip in pieces. And I still cannot get it. And as you can see, this is really tricky. The forward dash one worked quite nicely. I'll try to do that one instead. But hopefully I will be able to cancel more. Because like I said, this is a really big issue. And this is more of a timing thing, and how well you can press the buttons. I didn't find a way to 100% safely execute it. There we go, that was a good one. That didn't blow Carver, so really I recommend practicing this one, because if you have Carver popping up first, you may screw up the whole combo you want to build up on. So definitely try and learn to cancel Blooming first in a proper way. Because like I said, if Carver pops, if the CC is on cooldown, it doesn't really matter, really. But worst case, you're gonna inflict floating when you don't want to inflict floating, and that's gonna screw up your combo. Anyway, we're going for forward blind thrusts into Blooming. This one is really easy to pull off. Probably the easiest one of them all, because, yeah, I never really had an issue with Carver popping in between. But those are the 3 ways I found to instantly use Blooming without that wind-up where he like summons the blade and stands still. Maybe there's more cancellings I don't know of. There might very well be, like I said. Those are the 3 or the 4 if you count chase forward or backwards as the different one. But basically you have chase into blooming, you have carver into blooming, and you have blind thrust. Alright, I didn't show carver itself without chase, and now I blew it. This is what it looks properly without cancelling. That's not what I wanted to do. But basically, like I said, you can do it with carver without even doing chase. And let's just wait for 10 more seconds. Like I said, this is a bit iffy to practice because of the 25-second cooldown. I wish they would give us like some kind of test arena to reset them. But yeah, let's see. We're gonna... Boom. This one is it. Like I said, very easy to pull off after carver, and since carver has a slight forward dash, like you're having a tad bit of a gap closer, it might also be a very good opener, because if you cover the distance with carver and then just follow up with blooming, that might also work very well. So like I said, these 3 or 4 cancels, no, depending on which way you will want to divide those, is what you have at your disposal. Maybe there's more I don't know about. Like I said, there might be more, but those are the most common ones for me. And there we go, another clean cancel without carver. It's a matter of practice. Don't, like I said, for the backwards one, what I figured out is that doing it too fast, like trying to instantly use it, usually ends up with me using carver instead. So try leaving a bit time between actually dashing backwards and using blooming, and maybe you'll find the right timing and the right moment to pop this. Alright, I'm gonna go for last attempt. There we go. This really goes to show that it's not that hard, and it's all about practice. Anyways, thank you guys for joining. Thanks for letting me know what kind of cancel you want to look at. Like I said, I will continue making these depending on the public demand, depending on what kind of cancels or combos or what else you want to see. And yeah, hopefully some of you guys learned how to cancel blooming. It's a very good PvP skill, even though it has a 25-second cooldown. It hits quite hard, it has a stun, it drains enemy mana, which is all pretty good properties, and I think it also has a 100% crit rate, right? Yes, it does. So it is a very profitable skill. Anyways, thank you guys for joining, and hopefully see you guys in my next video as well.